My name is Erin Bossart, and I wanted to make this video just to share a little bit of my journey falling in love with my Catholic faith. I have so much I would love to share with you, but in order to keep it concise, I've written out a couple pages. I'm going to read from these, but I will try and make it personal as I read. And I really think if you're currently Catholic but struggle with church teaching, or if you are not Catholic but maybe have Catholics in your life, maybe I think my story might be helpful to you. And this, like I said, is just a little taste of it. I'm currently working on publishing a book that really highlights the story in more detail and some of the struggles, specific struggles I had with different church teachings and how I came around to embrace those teachings. So I am a cradle Catholic, meaning I was born into the Catholic faith. But a few years ago, I started to realize that my personal theology and beliefs were more like a cocktail of all the Christian denominations I had interacted with in my life. Or maybe something like a theology smoothie. I had taken all of the Christian books, speakers, videos, and Bible studies I had experienced in the 1990s and 2000s and sort of blended them up into something that tasted good and could be swallowed easily. Something that made me fit in with all of my social circles. I started to realize that I had a great lack of understanding of Catholic theology and teaching, which led me into a deep dive study. I had many questions. Is everything taught in the Catholic Church true? Is it biblical? How was the Bible created? Where did our traditions and teachings originate? What did the very first Church of Christians look like? For years, I had been noticing that I didn't know the right answers to many of the different issues and questions that my Protestant friends and family had about the Catholic Church. Often, I actually found myself agreeing with their concerns. If the fullness of truth didn't reside in the Catholic Church, though, where did it? Deep down, I knew that God had called me to remain Catholic, but I struggled to understand why sometimes. All of these feelings, combined with the confusion and multitude of truths being told during the COVID pandemic in 2020, gave me an extreme hunger for truth. I started to ask, what is truth? Does truth really exist? Is there just one truth? And if there is, wouldn't God want us to find it? The world felt so chaotic during the pandemic. Finding the truth about what was happening in the world and why seemed impossible to find. For the first time in my life, the sources that I had always thought were trustworthy seemed to feel less so. I started to wonder if the many Protestant Christian sources I was used to going to for direction were as trustworthy as I thought. When it came to my Catholic faith, I had always been so blinded by the things I disliked or didn't understand about the Catholic Church, or by what others had told me to think about it. I was Catholic, but with a whole lot of skepticism. I came to a point where I was ready and willing to leave the church I grew up in if it was God's will. That spring of 2020, I started watching hours and hours of Catholic and Protestant debates, reading the Catechism for the first time, scoring the Catholic Answers website, listening to many Ascension Presents YouTube videos, watching every Catholic conversion story video I could find. I started reading the writings of the early church fathers, and this led me to regularly attend adoration and pray the rosary by myself, which I had never really done. I felt like I was finally understanding the entirety of my faith with clarity for the first time in my life. Rather than feeling annoyed with and ashamed of my Catholic faith, I was falling more and more deeply in love with the church that I now believed Christ Himself established. There were truly answers for all of my questions. My deep love for my Catholic faith did not happen overnight, though. Although my intense study into the church started in 2020, I have been learning about my faith and seeking a deeper relationship with the Lord ever since I can remember. I had just not always used Catholic resources to do so. Conversion stories have been so impactful in my own faith journey. So many Catholics attend Mass and even participate in the sacraments without fully understanding what they are doing and the reason for it. That was me for years. I believe that without understanding, faith slowly dies, which is why we see so many Catholics leaving the church. So I share all of this to say that if you are like I was, Catholic, but find yourself at odds with the Catholic Church and its teaching, these are 3 sources that highly impacted me on my quest for understanding. Number 1, the Coming Home Network, specifically the On the Journey podcast and the Journey Home program. Number 2, Ascension Presents videos and all of their content, but especially the Father Mike videos were really impactful on me. And physically reading the Catechism and early church fathers brings so much understanding to the Bible and how to interpret it. You can find thousands of podcasts or YouTube videos from these sources alone, but there are many other awesome sources too. Matthew 7:7-8 says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks, the door will be open." My prayer for all of my brothers and sisters in Christ is that they would truly ask, seek, and knock with a completely open heart. When I let go of everything, humbled myself, and placed the entirety of my faith in the Lord's hands, He opened the door. I found His treasure within the Catholic Church. And I have received His grace so abundantly and grown closer to Him than I ever have been. And that is what I want for everybody. I want everyone to have the fullness of God's truth here on earth and experience the fullness of God's grace here on earth. It's such a blessing. So that's all I have for you for today. God bless.